Hi everyone, so it has been a hot minute. It is literally hot, but the show must go on. So today is kind of unexpected. I dressed up, I said I'll do a YouTube video, and then after I was gonna do it in my bedroom with nice aesthetics, but it was a video on work and what I do, so I thought I'd just come in my home office and talk about work. So the first question is, and I get this one a lot, wait, I thought you were a doctor. And yes, I am. So I do have a doctorate in biomedical sciences, specifically cancer medicine and genomics. The work itself was incredibly meaningful. I mean, it's life-changing research. However, the culture was a different story. It was like the politics, the burnout, the constant uncertainty. Because I watched people who had dedicated decades of their lives get pushed out without a second thought. And I knew that that was not the future I wanted for myself. And let's get one thing straight. I did not hate the field. I loved it, but it just did not align with the person I was becoming. And I know that I can use my skills elsewhere. One day it will all make sense, it will all align, and that's it for now. I really do not like the fate of my career or anything resting in someone else's hands. I craved a different type of freedom that I could build myself. I am so hot, I need to go and get a drink. I'll be right back. That's much better. So the next question was, where do I work now? So I work for myself and I also work for Diesel London, but I work in Bicester, which is outside London, but it's still all classed under Diesel London. So it's a bit of both. I am self-employed through my creative projects and I am employed part-time in retail. I know it's a bit unexpected, but that's what works for me right now and what I'm trying to build. So the next question was, how did you get a job at Diesel? So I had now moved and I was looking for friends, and there was this retail village near me, and I was, I think, 4 months into postpartum and I needed to get out. I did not have a network here, and this luxury village, they had a job fair and I went. Ideally, I was trying to work for like Ralph Lauren, one of those huge brands that everyone knows about, and I had to make a decision to go back to what I was doing before, like medical writing, or take a completely different route and give myself time to figure things out. And that meant getting a simple job to start off with, and it really makes you think, like, is it even worth it sometimes? Like benefits like maternity leave, for example, some places only give like 3 months, and honestly maternity leave flies by so quickly. Blink and it's done, and some of you have to pay those dues before you can have access to those benefits or qualify for those benefits. And if you're committing years of your life to this workforce, the least they could do is properly support you through maternity, not just handouts but real support. Like, I did not get any maternity handouts. I did it on my own, but I think that's what gave me the space and freedom to move at my own pace. So back to applying for a job. The retail village near me were doing a job fair. It was like a speed dating for a few brands. It was like Lululemon, Benefit, Ralph Lauren. I did get a few callbacks, but Diesel responded first with an offer, and it was the most surprising one of them all. The setup of this hiring event was like speed dating. You rotate tables and you do quick interviews with each different brand. And when they asked if I wanted to go and interview at the Diesel table, I was like, no, I do not know anything about Diesel. I'm gonna embarrass myself. In my head, all I could tell these people, the only thing I know about Diesel is the fuel. But the table was empty, and the agent that was pairing you with different tables, they nudged me again. Just do it. You don't have anything to lose, really. So I was like, okay, all right, why not, right? So I sat down in front of two, I'm gonna say kids because they were like so young compared to me. And I was like, this is gonna be interesting. So one of them, who is now my line manager, asked, so what do you know about the brand? And I was like, yes, of course, that has to be the first question you asked me. And I told him straight up, other than the fuel, I have no idea what the brand is about. And then he asked, well, take a guess. And I guessed, okay, maybe like Tommy Hilfiger. I'm gonna guess. And he was like, that was actually spot on, like with the price point and everything. Then he told me they did denim. I was like, oh, like Levi's. And then there was like, no, they're a bit premium. Anyways, I am not gonna get into all of those denim wars. But long story short, I wasn't even trying to impress. And then he started asking me questions like KPIs, UPT, sales target, customer service, you know, metrics. And I actually did, thanks to my background in running a business. And he was like taking notes on his laptop. Then his laptop crashed. So then he pulled out a notebook with a pen and started to write down my email address and dates that I would be available. And then the pen died. And I was like, whoa, this is going so great. I do not know what to say. That was weird but fun. So that was a Sunday, and now the Monday rolls around. And I got an email with an offer. No CV, because we had just chatted speed dating style in this recruitment fair. No background check, just, I guess, vibes, you know? But to this day, like, as I didn't hand in a CV or my details or no background check, nobody knows to this day that I have a doctorate. I am just there pretending to be like everybody else and just fighting the great fight. But honestly, I don't feel like the need to flex it. If they find out, they find out. It sometimes does come in handy with clients. Like when someone wants vegan leather or 100% cotton, I can drop knowledge about polyester on the skin and how it absorbs and health and all these things. And sometimes when my colleagues, they complain like they're feeling low energy, I'm like, oh, you probably need some iron or some dig. The next question that I got recently was what a typical day looks like. And I would go in, it depends if it's like a opening shift or a closing shift. So the closing shift, we do standards, make sure the store looks pristine. I don't, but they all cash up the monies and do safe stuff. And then in the morning, it's more replenishment. So if something's looking low on the shelf, we go up to check the stock, replenish. And yeah, that's the morning. And then we just serve customers. And for lunch, I do come home. I have lunch, I have a rest, I do whatever bits I need to do. And I usually like closing shifts because I have the whole morning to do creative stuff when my energy is good, and then go to work. And then you don't have to overthink retail, honestly. And I get my work done, and then I come home and I just relax and crash out, and I don't feel guilty. But when I have an early shift, I get out early in the morning, it's like go to work. And when I come home, I'm so depleted, I just crash out on the sofa and I don't do anything. So I like that now my manager, he gives me the later shifts so I could do my creative stuff at home and then go and do that when I'm mentally depleted. And I mean, retail is physically hard. That's it in a typical day mostly. And I only do that 2 days a week. So it's not bad. So the next question is why retail and why this part? And funny enough, I did not choose retail. Retail chose me. So when we had moved here, a lot of people in the area just end up working in a little retail village. And my neighbor, she is an engineer and it just didn't align with her. So she moved to retail and she built herself up. Now she's a manager. She runs one of these stores, which I am not aspiring to. This is just for me to get somewhere else where I'm trying to go. I'm not here to climb the retail ladder or anything, but I was like, that sparked my interest. Okay, let me try retail. Let me see what's there. All I was thinking is that I had to get out of the house, get out of my head and back into the world while I figured out what I wanted. It created this breathing room, a space to reset, to rebuild, and quietly fund my next chapter. I did not need the money, though, to be honest. It is nice. So I saved a lot and I'm gonna invest it in my own ideas. I did get offers for medical writing and the roles were impressive. The salary was kind of impressive, but what I had to trade in for it didn't make sense at all to me. So I said no. I knew it would pull me back into a system that I had already outgrown. So I took the risk. I'm trusting the discomfort, and now I am so glad I did. The path started to become clearer when I stopped trying to control every single detail. It reminds me of something Jim Carrey said. If you're not willing to downgrade your life for a year for the life you want, you care too much about what other people think. You have to be brave to step outside your comfort zone because the life you want is just outside there, and success is very uncomfortable. I know some people talk, a lot of people talk from PhD to retail, and then they wonder how am I able to build a brand, be a mom, have a podcast, freelance work, and wear all these hats, but I would not be able to do this if I was working 5 days a week for someone else, building someone else's dream. If I want to build my dream, if you want to build your dream, you have to make that shift. You can't be doing it. You have to shift that ratio. Retail gave me enough structure without the overwhelm. It gave me flexibility, quiet weekdays to build my own dream, and a rhythm that works for my life. Yes, I do come home physically tired, but it's just 2 days a week. And on those days now, I already put in the work in the mornings and then go build someone else's dreams, but I have already laid some foundation. And when I come home, I am tired, but I'm mentally charged for the next day, because working in retail, you meet so many people, you communicate so much, you learn so much, you get so many ideas. It is like so stimulating and you feel so driven. And I know all I have to do is rest tonight and tomorrow I'm at it. Retail, it's not glamorous, but it has aligned with me, and sometimes that's more than enough. Someone asks, what does my job entail now? And I'm gonna guess you all are talking about my retail job, right? So it is way more than folding jeans. Though I have mastered a precision fold now, I just need to translate that to my home wardrobe, but it's getting there. But it often makes me think about Steve Jobs on the Apple farm and how those early experiences shaped his future in unexpected ways. A big part of my job is people reading and intuition. I help clients pick out pieces, style looks, build that trust. Often I'd suggest pieces that they wouldn't normally choose themselves, and honestly, that is the best feeling ever. Like when somebody trusts you with something as special as their fashion. That is something so special and so unique to everybody, and we have to do it so quickly because we're one of the highest performing diesel stores. Sometimes during our days, we have to do a lot of training, safety training, product training, from sustainability and fit to materials and craftsmanship. It's just not about selling jeans. It's about telling the story and explaining to the customer how to fall in love with their jeans, how to take care of it. What is the best part of your job? So much. The colleagues, the accent, the different backgrounds and culture. Every time someone new comes in, so we had some new recruits recently. They are so surprised to meet someone from the Caribbean, Trinidadian. Every day I get asked on my accent. I love being asked on it and talking about Trinidad. Each day is so different. Like you learn something, you meet different people. I just love getting up and getting to work. And who could honestly say that? It is one of the least toxic jobs I have ever been in. And this week we had someone from France. They came in to train, and he said that he had worked YSL and D Square and all these other brands, and Diesel seemed to be the best so far, because he used to work in Diesel, he went around and then he came back. And that's what we find a lot with ex-employees that leave. They always come back. So that's why I do not want to leave anytime soon. I may go down to 1 day a week. Even on bad days at Diesel, it's much better than the good days in my last jobs, all the jobs I ever had. Even so, it's an amazing place to work. So next question that I got, is there any sexy people at work? Of course there is. I mean, look, it's a requirement of the job. I am joking. But yeah, is there any sexy dudes at work? That was the question. Yes, and the girls are also fit as well. There's beautiful people all around. Diesel is definitely winning there. Anyways, yes, there are sexy dudes there. You all could come and see that. Make sure and buy something at least. What's the worst part of your job? You know, like when you're there just chatting to your friends and your manager comes up and be like, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean. I hate that. But my boss doesn't do that. So if he ever sees this, he'll be like, that's not me. I don't know. There's no worst part. Like, as I said, even on the worst days, it's better than the best days in all my other jobs. I know some people always ask, does it feel like a step back from PhD to retail and like working on weekends? I don't mind working on weekends. It gives me an excuse to get out of a lot of stuff. And now I'm only working 1 day of a weekend, so I do have that 1 day. But regards to the feeling like if it's a step back, it's honestly a blessing in disguise. I get my weekdays free to create, and I am so glad that I had the emotional strength or intelligence to make this step, because not many people will have the strength to step back. People are so tied to their egos and status, and they genuinely do care about what people think, and I could not give a rat's ass. The next question is, what lessons have you learned? So the first lesson I learned is about diesel, and I had no idea how popular or how huge this brand is when I started doing the trainings. And each month I think they send like a celebrity guide, like Rihanna's designing for diesel now, like lingerie wear, Miley Cyrus, Kylie, well, anything Kardashian, it sells. But yeah, I think that was the biggest lesson I learned. Even when customers come in, I'm so genuinely surprised of their brand knowledge. These customers love diesel. And other things I've learned about fabrics, how they process and do jeans, how they source their items, their materials. I learned about, I know I learn things every day. I'm like, wow. Ooh. I learn a lot from my manager and the environment he runs, like even other people when I describe the dynamics at work. It's amazing. Yeah, I think that's it. So the next question is, what was it like going from doctorate to diesel? Honestly, it is humbling, but in the best way. I don't go around flexing my title anyways. I should do a little more. As I said, most of my co-workers, I don't think any of them even knows I have that title. But the best thing about not revealing who I am is that I get to show up as me. No titles, no pressure, no ego. Every now and then the doctor in me does slip out and they ask, oh, what's the reason for this? I don't understand how this works and I'm feeling like this. And then I explain all about how the body works and the biochemistry, and they're like, how do you know that? And I'm like, still remember all my A-level biology. Anyways, the next question. Any good deals? Now, we always have good deals. I am assuming you're talking about diesel. Year round, there are good deals. But the times that I have seen the best deals is always after the holidays, because they always send a load of stuff for holiday shopping. And after that, we have to get rid of stuff. So after Christmas, after Easter, and after the summer holidays, there's so much. Right now we have crazy sale, saying that because they have just all sent all the stuff from all the other stores all at once, so we have to get rid of stuff very quickly. And there's also sales like during a seasonal transition. So if you're planning to shop and grab some sales, these are the sweet spots, like January, after Easter, so I'm thinking like May, end of April, May, and September, October. Black Friday sales and Boxing Day sales, they are not as good as these. Next question is, any insider shopping tips? So come early, right when the store opens. Everybody's fresh and energized. You will get the best personalized experience ever. We're all in a good mood. We're not tired at the end of the day. Everything's pristine, everything's fully stocked, and you will leave happy. Next question is, do you get free stuff? Of course I do, but I wouldn't necessarily call them free. It'd be more like benefits. So there are nice perks like getting diesel jeans, a few pairs, like a few times of the year, shoes, t-shirts, jackets, sometimes meals, we have staff discount, but yeah, I would not count those as free. Those are benefits. That's the least they can do. If they have a uniform, they should provide a uniform, and they do provide a uniform. I know there's some works that require a uniform and you have to buy your own uniform. That is very unfair, but yeah. And the uniform is often what's in current season and in style, so we love it. So what do you do when you're not working? And I assume when I'm not working, you mean like not working for diesel, because I am contracted 16 hours with diesel, and the rest of the 5 days of the week is my time. So I spend time with my girls. That is my priority. That is my first job. I pour my passion into my project, so Sage and Learn, a community I'm building on slow living, creativity, gardening, gardening, self-care, food, photography, all the things that make life feel full and rich. And I am always working because I try to align my passion project with my life. So when I'm lifing, I'm working, and when I'm working, I'm lifing as well. And honestly, with the support of my partner and his salary. He also do not work 5 days a week because our goals are also aligned. I can't stress enough how important it is to choose the right person. I know that in itself is not easy. I have had my share of pain and heartbreaks, but I found him, and that kind of partnership means everything when you're building a life and a dream. I have done the 5-day grind. That is capitalism version of success, and it's just not mine. I rather protect my peace and build something that grows with me and not drains me. So the next question is, what's next for you? I would say nothing major right now, and that's very intentional. To me, it feels not major, but to others, I think it might feel major, but I have been putting in the work little by little each day, and it will feel major to everybody because they have not seen that little bit of progress. I have been offered promotions and travel opportunities. I have done the high achieving thing. I've done the grind, and now I'm building something of my own, and that something is Sage and Loon, which is a community for people choosing peace, slow and beautiful living, softness, intentionality, even when it's messy. And I don't think it will align in the space that I'm trying to create, a space that celebrates uniqueness and not the hustle. Last year, I was quietly saving all that I could. I didn't know why at the time. Sage and Loon started this year, January. In my head, the idea came full circle. It started to make sense in November, December last year. And this year in January, I told my husband and we started to work on it. And that's what I'm focused on right now. And that kind of creation, the one that is soul-led and soul-grown, requires clarity. No distractions, no shiny detours. So the next question is, I have been working a 9 to 5 for years. The salary is amazing. I get promotions and travel perks, but I still feel unfulfilled. Like I'm building someone else's dream while I'm being paid to stay quiet. Am I lost? No, you're not lost. And that is such a real question. That is exactly how I feel. And I love this question so much. When I saw this question came in, it's gonna have to be a YouTube video. I felt the same way, and honestly, you're not lost. You're just hearing yourself for the first time in a long time. And when we're constantly rewarded with promotion, perks, and praise, it's easy to ignore that quiet little nudge, that little low hum that this isn't it. I have felt that too. I used to want to become an academic. Then I tried medical writing, which was a dream job on paper, remote working, full salary, but I just didn't feel at home with it. Sometimes you don't know something isn't for you until you get a taste of it. I mean, there are benefits to a 9 to 5. I had one. A steady paycheck is a beautiful thing. But after becoming a mom, something shifted in me. My kids didn't hold me back at all. They held up a mirror actually. I had to take a deep look and ask myself, is this really it? And that's the key. When you start questioning it, feeling that restlessness, that yearning for more, that's not failure. That is actually clarity trying to break through. And here's my advice. Do not go and quit your 9 to 5, or my advice, but try something new. Don't quit your job tomorrow. Give yourself a gentle transition. Cut down your hours if you can. I went from 5 days a week to 4 days to 3 to now 2. And eventually I'll go down to 1, even to no days at all. But I'm building capital right now, so I can't. But it's all intentional. And only you know your end game. So pick something simple, something that keeps your bills paid but your mind clear, so you can use your best energy to build a thing that actually fuels you. And when you start working on your own dream, you can't half-ass it. You have to show up fully. The job might hold you for now, but the vision, that's what should carry you forward. You're not lost, you're just arriving. That's it. That's where we're at now. This is my life right now. Work-life balance. You get a taste of everything in this video. Life looks nothing like I had imagined, but it feels more like me than ever before. And I am curious, if you're working a 9 to 5, 5 days a week, do you feel fulfilled? I'd love to hear your perspective, because I always had this thing in me, and I just want to know if anybody else ever felt it as well. Join me in this journey. If you've never felt it, enjoy your journey. And good for you, because as I said, a steady paycheck, not having to worry about suppliers and packaging and SEO, it's such a simple life. Like, I have gotten a few gray hairs just in this period of my life, in this era. Anyways, I'd love to hear your perspective. Was it something that you had to accept, actively work on, or did it just naturally align with your life? And what do you do to make that easier? Like perhaps a 9 to 5 is something I would love, but I just don't have the secret as yet to do a 9 to 5. In my last business, I only hired freelancers because I did not want to contract or limit their time, giving them full control and fair pay. If you have any questions that I didn't answer, please drop them in the comments because I could do a part 2. And let me know, have you ever made a career pivot like this? Or are you also building something on the side? Or what does success mean to you right now? And if you're curious about Sage and Loon, I do share slow living content, cozy chaos over Instagram and TikTok. All the links are below. And thanks for watching. And remember, your path does not have to make sense to anyone but you. Bye.